Something So Sweet by Joy Avery. Performed by Pierre Brooks and Inger Tudor.
Chapter 1. Lunden Pierce liked Dick. However, she liked him more when he wasn't dropping colossal problems at her feet. Then again, whose feet would he drop them at other than those of the esteemed mayor of Honey Hill, North Carolina? The small town nestled 2 hours outside Raleigh just so happened to be the topic of today's discussion. According to Richie Dickerson, the town's penny-pinching, budget-cutting finance director, their slice of heaven was losing more money than it was bringing in. An unfortunate result of the untimely death of the woman most would call the town matriarch, Sugar Hawthorne, and the closing of her pride and joy, the Inn on Main. Until its closing several months ago, the inn had been a staple in the farming community and a viable source of revenue for the other local businesses due to its popularity as the perfect escape destination. Lunden closed her eyes and kneaded her temple. "How bad is it?" she asked.
"Well, we won't go belly up anytime soon, if that's what you're asking."
Her eyes popped open, and she eyed Dick curiously. If they weren't in serious straits, why in the hell was he here stressing her out? She shook her empty coffee tumbler and sighed. At 10 in the morning, it already felt as if she'd been awake the entire month of April. That morning, she'd overslept when her alarm hadn't sounded. She'd burned breakfast, attempting to multitask. Then, through no fault of his own, her 6-year-old son had spilled an entire cup of apple juice in her back seat when she'd been forced to slam on the brakes to avoid mowing down her neighbor's peacock. The whirlybird had obviously deemed it a good idea to cross the road bright and early on a Monday morning. A second later, and it would have literally gotten to the other side. Not of the road, but of the peacock pearly gates high in the sky, or wherever peacocks went after they died. Thank God she hadn't hit it. She would have never lived it down, especially if Lady Sunshine had gotten wind of the news. Lady Sunshine was many things to Honey Hill, including their walking, talking gazette. If she didn't know it, it wasn't news. The actual town paper, the Honey Hill Herald, had actually blamed Lady Sunshine for its decline in subscribers. Yep, she was definitely glad she wouldn't become known as the peafowl killer of Honey Hill. That title made for a great crime novel, but was no good for her reputation. Dick continued, "But unless we find a way to supplement, we'll be forced to cut several line items from the budget. The square renovation, updated playground equipment for the park, new provisions for the sheriff's department." Heck, it wasn't like they were crime central. The HHSD's provisions should still work like new, as they were rarely put to use. About the only criminal activity they saw in Honey Hill was Old Man Patterson and Sam Whitman, rival farmers, trying to kill each other every time Sam Whitman's pet raccoon moseyed onto Old Man Patterson's farm and terrorized his bevy of peafowl.
"We'd also have to scrap plans for the community pool,"
Dick said. This drew Lunden's immediate attention. Dick eyed her as if expecting a reaction. Understandable. She'd been the one who'd painstakingly convinced the city council to approve the costly addition to the state-of-the-art community center, another one of her crusades. Though that one hadn't been so difficult to pass, because she'd had the full support of Miss Sugar.